Adam has arrived.
Hey, Maurice and Odie gonna take over like Zach and Cody. Black and Snerdy is the best podcast. Gonna boom like Wile E. Coyote. Gonna meet magic, they move like they hairy. Ain't talking about mental health, no, it's not scary. You know that she coming up with the astrology. Mo got a comic and that's the best policy. Maurice the goat, talking about animation cause you know. Odie, she moving wavy like the boat. Watching some movies and she's taking notes. Yeah, kick back, listen. Black and Snerdy have risen. Upload on a mission. 5 stars, never dissing. Black and Snerdy, ooh. Black and Snerdy, yeah. Black and Snerdy.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Black and Snerdy podcast, the only podcast where two sexy black nerds get together to shoot the shit. I am Mo, aka Kid Licorish.
And I'm Odie.
And together we are the aforementioned Snerds here on episode 181 of the Black and Snerdy podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, as well as can be during these times.
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing?
Not great. Not great.
Is it because of your shot?
Yeah, no, it's okay. So for the listeners, before we start any episode of the podcast, we take a celebratory shot of a alcoholic.
Take a shot.
Yes, we take a shot. A drop that I'm sure I will say
Maurice
that I should have.
A shot, a drop, so now you gotta take a shot.
Anyway, I'm using a different shot glass cup than I normally do. And I'm realizing I did not do a thorough enough job of washing it out. So it tasted like the liquor in addition to the rubber that it's made out of, which is
silicone.
It's not a good taste. Silicone is still not a good taste.
It's not. I think,
and so
honestly,
I'm reacting to the taste of it going down my throat.
As someone who uses silicone for different things for cooking, I find that as much as it is possibly, who knows, better than using like a non-stick pan because of like the forever chemicals or whatever and the little mini microplastics. One wrong move and all your shit's gonna taste like silicone.
Yeah, it really does. It's not a good taste.
It's not
at all. And honestly, I am doing everything in my power to push past the taste.
Take some juice.
I will do my best to take some juice.
Or drink some juice. Take the juice and drink it.
Take this juice and drink it. I don't know if that's a reference to anything or what,
but who knows?
I said it with the cadence of a joke.
You did. Well, how are you doing outside of your silicone shot?
Outside of my silicone shot, things could be better.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the last episode we did, fantastic episode. Shout out to Will Adams.
You were a great first. Like we've had friends and family on as like little guests and things, which is fun, and it's like, it's cool to have them sometimes. But him being like our first actual like interview, I really enjoyed it. And he was also a great guest because I have interviewed tons of people, right? And one thing that's very frustrating when you're interviewing folks is like you ask a question, it's open-ended, and they just give you a dry ass like, yep, it was great. And it's like, you're like, okay, and?
Yes.
But we didn't have to do that with him, really, which was great because it was like able to be like a real conversation.
Sure.
We were still able to ask questions and all those type of stuff, like, and get to like the meat of what we wanted to talk about.
It was an engaging conversation.
Yeah, so really appreciate you, Will Adams. Everybody, please go watch the Tubi movie, Tube-E movie. I just saw he posted up that it's on another streaming platform. I think it's called, is it Fame House?
No, it's Fawsome. I actually put it in the show notes last week.
Okay. Yeah, go to Fawsome. You can watch it there now. It's on Plex. It's on Fawsome. Mansa as well. So go check it out. It's very funny.
Yes, it is.
It's only an hour long, so it's not like you're going to need, all this time to sit through it. You're going to enjoy it. So shout out to you. And if anybody else wants to talk with us on the podcast, we are here for that. It doesn't matter whether you're a movie producer, director, a writer, an anime enthusiast, a wrestler, whatever it could possibly be that you're interested in, we want to talk to you about it.
Sure, and for the Spotify listeners, if you go back to episode 180, there is a poll on that episode. Please engage with that poll. We love data.
We do love data.
We love combing through data and information.
Because it lets us know the type of stuff that works and the stuff that's not really working. And we're always looking to evolve and be better than we were before. Mm-hmm. So please interact with us.
Yes.
As well as, commenting, sharing, subscribing, all the stuff we always tell you to do. But I really like that. And, I've been wanting to interview folks on here for a while. So I'm glad we finally, popped that cherry, burst that bubble. So you get one done, and then you just keep doing more.
Hooray. Hooray for us. Hooray, hooray, hooray.
Hooray.
Hooray for evolution. Hooray.
Hooray.
It sounds like a baby would say hooray.
It sounds like someone from Little Rascals.
Hooray! Aw, it's almost as if I should have a children cheering drop. But
should you?
Hooray!
Are you ready to get into this week's episode?
Boy, aren't I?
When you want a hot meal without a big deal, what are you gonna pick?
Pop topics. All right, pop topics. What do you want to talk about?
Well, Drewski has had the internet ablaze.
Yes.
Because he put out one of his skits. Now, one thing I like about Drewski is that he is what I would call a cultural anthropologist. Okay? He pays attention to what people do, and then he'll make a skit about it. Whether it's boys on the hood on the corner, hillbillies at NASCAR, and most recently, he did a conservative women in America skit. Now, I want to say he did not name anybody in the skit. He didn't say who anybody was. All he did was create this content and put it out. Now, we're going to show the video. I'm putting it on 1.5 speed so that we can all watch the video together.
Sure.
And it's only about 2 minutes, 20 seconds, so it should be about a minute for on the 1.5. So I want us to watch it, and then we're going to talk about it. All right. Here we go.
Get on your feet, boy!
War is raging in Iran.
We're praying for all the soldiers and troops.
That's great that you're praying, but
how about all the kids that died when the USA hit the town?
It broke my heart. That is the
In what ways have you grown close to Jesus?
I serve a righteous God. That's why we say our prayers. We are all his children. But when I say children, I mean like the holy, blessed Trinity, which is why I hold the Bible.
Sweet cream foam chai ice matcha. And Bella will have all organic puck cup. Yes, everything organic.
Four, 3, 7. Oh, are you good? 4, 3, 2. Hold your chest, lift it.
We have to protect all men in America, especially all white men in America. Those are the boys that we care about in this country. America is built on their backs. Yes, because they are the ones who mattered most.
So, okay, for the listeners who are listening to the audio podcast, that was a clip of Drewski dressed up in whiteface as a quote-unquote conservative woman. And quite frankly, it is basically an homage to Charlie Kirk's wife. I forget her first name, but it is
Erica Kirk.
Erica Kirk. It's clearly her. Like the whole coming out to Pyro is a spoof of her. I forget what that Republican thing was, but she came out to all of that pomp and circumstance at Pyro
that was
that
her
one
husband's,
time.
That when she came out with the pyro,
Yeah.
and the fucking fireworks,
Yes.
it was her husband's like memorial,
Yes,
service or whatever. It was her lamenting and grieving,
yeah,
as a widow.
I mean, obviously, anybody who's gone through the grieving process knows that there are, I believe there are 5 steps to.
It might be 12. I don't know.
It's 5 or 7 steps of grief. You know, there's bargaining, there's denial, and of course, there's pyrotechnics. She was obviously going through the pyrotechnics step of the grieving process.
This is a picture of Erica Kirk in the middle, and next to it is the clips from Drewski.
Yes.
Now, like I said, he never mentioned anybody. So it could be, he could be anyone, because there was a video of, I forgot where they were, but it was one of the white conservative women was speaking. And she looked just like him, to be honest. I couldn't even... I almost thought, did Drewski do another skit?
Drewski, quite frankly, in this conservative makeup, looks essentially like a movie monster Karen.
And they are
when
upset.
they do zoom-ins of Drewski's face in
the
this
eyes.
makeup, it's a combination of the eyes and also just the face.
Yeah.
It is... nightmare fuel.
Because this is the thing. All of these conservative women, or a good portion of them, have gotten this Mar-a-Lago face where they have stretched their face out. They've gotten all these implants. They've done all this stuff. So, like, it looks very much... And when he had the nails and was doing the wiping of the tears... That's what really, I was like, you are really paying attention.
Yes.
And I think that's the thing about comedy, which is great, is that if you pay attention, you can be so funny because you're just you're parroting back to people what we see all the time.
The devil's in the details. Specificity is the soul of wit.
So it's like, I know Erica Kirk has allegedly said, oh, what if I get back at him, basically like talking about doing blackface. And it's like, bitch, we all do blackface all the time. You don't have to have a reason to do blackface. But I'm sure if we have anybody's Halloween birthday party pictures, someone's gonna have blackface.
My apologies. Brevity is the soul of wit. I got that confused with specificity.
Well, I think yours was better.
But I do think that specificity is important when it comes to making good comedy. I would also say, in response to what you just said, that the difference between whiteface and blackface is that whiteface historically is pointing out the privilege of white people.
Yes.
Whereas blackface has been historically used to, project and demonize
oppress and all
an entire race of people, namely black people. Now, of course, everybody will always point out, well, what about this example of blackface? What about that example of blackface? What about this, that, the third? And obviously, the biggest one that usually comes up is Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder.
But we don't have a problem with Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder.
The difference is that he was not making fun of black people. He was making fun of method actors and their extreme lengths that they will go to get into character.
Yeah, he was making fun of white people who think they're so like...
I would say it wasn't even just necessarily white people. It was legitimately making fun of method actors.
Oh, for sure. But I mean, like, in that aspect, you think of, like, there are plenty of white actors who are method actors who feel like, I'm going deep into this part. I'm becoming this character.
Yeah.
And then they end up being foolish. And the thing is like, one thing, and I think I've said this to you before, that like the problem, something that's annoying about like racism and white supremacy is that it takes away from people's ability to like have fun and be funny, because you can't have things which you might say, oh, this is hilarious, because there's always an undercurrent of fucking bullshit that you're like, this can't even be funny, because we know that at the base of it, this person probably has some hatred in their heart.
I do hate that aspect about racism.
It
prevents people from being funny.
It does. Every time these comedians are like, I can't say anything, everything's all whatever, and everyone's so snowflakey. It's because y'all have done so much bullshit over the years that even if something was funny, you can't do it, because now everyone's going to have 10 other examples of why this shouldn't be allowed, right? But this instance, it's like if he is parroting back to you the stuff that's happening, that y'all are doing, and it looks ridiculous, that is a you problem, because this is exactly what we are seeing. And if you go and pull up videos of Erica Kirk or any of these other conservative white women, you're going to see the things that he was doing in his skit are the things that are happening.
Right.
You know?
I do think that even though he didn't say it, and even though he directly said that it was conservative women, it does come off and feels more like a pointed caricature of Erica Kirk.
Of course, yeah, because I think that she, at least right now, is definitely one of the like key conservative white women in the country that people are looking at and talking about. And you can't, like, we all saw how she reacted to her husband's murder.
She's been moving pretty funny ever since her husband, was unalived.
Literally, like, days after his death, you're taking over his podcast. You're, like, celebrating in grief with all of these people. Like, we cannot help but to show you the shenanigans of what you're doing.
Essentially, it's a reflection back onto you, the behavior that you have exhibited.
And if you don't like that, you should look into yourself. That's not our problem. And it's like to try to like, some folks were saying, oh, maybe she's going to try to sue him or things like that, which it's highly unlikely, because he did not name anybody. He didn't name anybody.
Two, I would assume that it would fall under like parody when it comes to legality.
Yeah, because if you're going to sue someone for libel or defamation, like there are so many strict rules about that.
Sure.
So it wouldn't go anywhere. And then also I feel like the way that she was commenting, like, I can't believe that you would do this, or da-da-da, you make yourself look suspect. Regardless of whether everybody else thought it was you, it's not until you comment on it. Like a hit dog hollers. You putting yourself into it makes it the bullseye on you. Versus it could have been, what's her name? What's the one that was we just talked about her? She was Kristi Noem, right? What if it was Kristi Noem? What if it was one of the other women in the cabinet? Like, it could have been anyone. Like, it's just showing, even though, yes, we are targeting or we are putting it on Erica Kirk, it really is an amalgamation of all these conservative women in America and the way that they act. Because this is what we see. This is how y'all are on, and whether it's a podcast, a news interview, just anywhere you're putting on your social media, this is what we see. And I think that's funny. And we should have more of that. And if you could take time to laugh at yourself and be like, oh shit, am I doing that? Maybe you could actually do something different. But they never have a desire to like learn and be more introspective.
Or just the other side of it, just take it for what it is. It's a humorous sketch. You look at it, you point out like, oh, that's so true. Or you say something along those lines, and then you keep it moving.
Yeah.
Like, at best, this should just be water off a duck's ass. You know what I mean? Like, it's something that you see, you chuckle by, and then you keep it moving. You keep it trucking. Like, I wouldn't necessarily be offended by this if I was a conservative woman. But then again, I'm the opposite of a conservative woman.
Yes, you are the opposite. So you wouldn't really be...
I'm on the other side of that coin.
Yeah.
Maybe not the exact opposite. If they're 100 and I'm 0, like, I don't know if that's 100% true. But I am not on the same side of the coin as a conservative woman is.
Yeah, so. I think you are far, far removed from their shenanigans.
Yeah, well.
But I'm looking forward to seeing, hey, what is Erica Kirk going to come and put out? If she does put something out. I'm curious. It's not going to be nearly as funny. So it's already going to be a womp womp.
I'm sure
out.
that she will get the best conservative comedy writer.
Rob Schneider?
Or funny enough, I was going to say Ben Shapiro, because that's the level of comedy conservatives tend to have.
Yes.
Well, I mean, Adam Carolla, I guess, maybe. Or that's all I can think of.
Which one is Adam Carolla? His name is familiar, but
The Man Show.
Really?
The one who was not Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh shoot! Let me look him up. Damn, from the Man Show.
Yeah.
There are people who are conservative that I never expected.
Oh, you didn't see his animated show that he came out with? Occurred a few years ago?
No.
Yeah, that's Adam Carolla, yeah.
I did not. What was the show about?
It basically
what was it called?
What was it called? It's one, it wasn't funny. 2, it was essentially like making fun of woke culture and shit. But like
Mr. Bertram?
Yeah, Mr. Bertram. Wasn't humorous. It wasn't funny. It wasn't satirical. Everything that it was not good. It just wasn't good.
Surprising.
It just wasn't good.
Yeah.
Is it surprising?
Yeah, I guess no, not really. But the show, it had Megyn Kelly on there, which, like, is she even a actress? She's a newscaster, isn't she? I don't think she's anything that's good. Okay. Megyn Kelly, Roseanne Barr, Jay Mohr, and Patrick Warburton. Now, Patrick Warburton and Jay Mohr are names that I know, but I can't think of what they look like.
Well, you know Patrick Warburton from his voice, right?
Jay Mohr, him!
Yeah, we were just talking about him the other day when we were watching Scrubs.
Oh my gosh, I would never have thought of him as a person who would be...
Well, okay, to be fair, like, I'm not going to sit here and...
This Patrick, oh my God, not him, I love him!
Yeah.
Damn!
I would double check. I would do another search because I don't necessarily... No, I know he was on the show. I don't necessarily know if all of those characters... I mean, no, it's characters. I don't know if that necessarily says that all of them are, of that same belief. But some people just take a check.
Yes. Some people do just take a check.
I mean, obviously, Roseanne Barr and Megyn Kelly are one thing. But, like, I would just double check about Jay Mohr and Patrick Warburton.
I would be curious if they come to you with the script and tell you what it's about, that you would have some sort of like, like that. I feel like that you would have some kind of mindfulness or self-awareness of the script that you're getting. Like, even if it's not that you are necessarily super conservative, but knowing that the show is promoting super conservative ideology.
I just think it's different when it comes to like acting roles. I just think for a certain I think there's a certain tier of actors, and if you fall below that, I think work is just work.
It does say that this character of Dick Bertram, he featured it in the 1990s.
Yeah, and he was on Crank, and he was on Crank Anchors. Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, that's also it's surprising because I would never have pictured him. But we've had a lot of surprising conservatives coming into the fray.
Yeah,
this past week.
It's almost as if that was a perfect segue.
So the last few days, TLC.
And that's not the Learning Channel.
Not the Learning Channel. T-Boz, Left Eye R.I.P., and Chilli have been in the news. Not R.I.P.
Sorry, I didn't do it quick enough. I didn't do it quick enough.
Not because of their upcoming tour with Salt and Pepper, but because it has come to the internet's, what is it called? The internet's...
Attention?
Attention, thank you. That Chilli, Rosanda, I believe is her name, has allegedly, apparently, well, she definitely has been donating to Trump, but that she may or may not be a conservative in hiding, right? So some folks, they went out and they found some wire transfers that she did to the Trump committee. One was for a company called WinRed. Do not know what that is. One was the Trump National Committee. Another was to Never Surrender Inc., which they found because you can go, if someone's donating to a campaign, that's public knowledge.
Yeah.
So you can go in there and you can look. They just went to fec.gov, searched her name, they found who she donated to. And then they went on her Instagram, and it looks like she's following Trump, Tommy Lauren, Newsmax, a comedian called Terrence K. Williams. I don't know who that is, but apparently he's conservative. She's following those people, and so they have obviously been getting in her ass about it. Now, she posted up put up a post on her social medias that said, "I want to be clear, I am not MAGA and do not support any of the many policies that are causing great harm to the American people. I made a mistake too many make. I did not read the fine print. I thought I was supporting causes against human trafficking and for veterans, two things I care deeply about, as my dad is a veteran and everyone knows I love children. I have learned a valuable lesson and ask for grace as I navigate this. Love, Chilli." Now, people, of course, are on, it's like two sides. Some folks, after she put this message out, have like, oh, well, maybe she did make a mistake. And other people are like, whatever, fuck you. Now, I thought this was interesting and have, I want to say, very little faith in what she's saying, because I remember it might have been like maybe 2 or 3 years ago when she got in an uproar because somebody...
Are you talking about the Michelle Obama comment?
No, but that was also... Do you want to talk about that one, or you want me to finish?
No, I thought that's what you were bringing up.
No, what I was bringing up was a few years ago, she had gotten into a social media argument because someone had called her brown skin or whatever.
I do remember that.
And she was like, I'm only brown skin when I'm tan. I'm really light brown or caramel or whatever. And now, if you look at Chilli, Rosanda, she's probably maybe she might be, because you're about a shade lighter than I am.
I would say that I am definitely lighter than you.
You are a full shade.
No, I'm not saying I'm not. I'm agreeing with you in that I am lighter than you.
So she's probably...
You are darker than me.
Yes. And
we're saying the same thing.
She's probably a little lighter than you. She's probably like a caramel milk duddy.
I would say that Chilli's probably somewhere in between the two of us.
I think that she's more on the other side of you.
You think she's lighter than me?
I think she might be.
Chilli from TLC is lighter than me.
Or maybe y'all have the same color.
You think Chilli from TLC...
I think that she's brown skin.
Is...
All right, I think she's your color, actually. I would say, looking at her, she's probably your color.
Maybe my complexion, I could say. So maybe my complexion.
She had this whole back and forth with someone who had called her brown skin, I guess implying that she was more so my color. And she was like, only when I tan am I that color. Da, 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 da. It was like a whole thing. And I thought that was weird because I feel very much like Black people, first of all, we're all black, so it doesn't matter what your color is. And you should not have any negative response if somebody's calling you lighter or darker. Like, I would love to be darker. Every summer, I want to be on Lupita's level of chocolatiness because I'm like, that's just it's so beautiful, right? But I also love my color. And if you're lighter, like, also great. But I think that there is a lot of, like, colorism built into folks where if they are a little bit lighter, they don't want you to assume that they are any darker than what they are. Like, and that's it. And I think especially for, like, her, like, Gen X demographic, because those things are even more so a part of the culture than even from when we were growing up, I can understand why maybe she has some difficulty acknowledging that, like, and embracing her blackness, you know, and her darkness. Yeah, because I think that's, like, it was just very weird. And it was very much so, like, why are you having such a bitch fit about someone calling you brown? Like, that's weird to me. So I think that, like, you know, her always lauding, like, you know, I'm black, but I also have some Indian in my family. Like, that being kind of a thing that she always sat on. I feel like that does not surprise me that now she would possibly be coming out or being outed as MAGA. And then there were, like you said, there was the comments about Michelle Obama, which I hadn't even heard about or seen until this came up.
Well,
so what was
essentially she reposted a thing on Twitter or X that was commenting about Michelle Obama. If you give me a second, I will pull it up. But she later, in a statement, she said that I have the utmost respect and admiration for Michelle Obama, and I would never say or do anything that is disrespectful to her or any women. I'm not very computer savvy, so I'm looking for the repost button, and I see that all these buttons are very, very close to each other, and clearly I was scrolling, and my thumb hit the repost button.
Okay.
Boo.
So my question is, now, yes, on Instagram, they have updated the buttons with the like, the repost, the share, all those things. But why would you be reposting or liking or sharing if you're trying to share it? And I guess you wanted to say, like, oh, this is so terrible. But were you trying to like it, or were you just trying to go past it? Doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really give me, like, oh, this was an accident. And also, when you repost something, it tells you that you reposted it. So you can go in there and unpost it. There's been times I've reposted something on accident, and you go in and you unpost it.
I can't really find the original post, but what I'm being made aware of, thank you, Google's Grok. The post was a disrespectful conspiracy-related meme that aimed to spread a transgender conspiracy theory about Miss Obama.
Well, that's been something that has gone around for quite some time. Do you want to watch the video?
I don't want to watch the video, nor do I want to put that video on this podcast.
No, the video of her talking about the post.
It's I just read the explanation of
okay.
I just read the explanation of the post. So essentially here, okay. Let me try to bring this home. As far as Chilli is concerned, I think that there are two options that Chilli could have done as far as this information coming out when it comes to her donating to conservative and Trump political campaigns and this past caramel controversy, as well as the Michelle Obama post, and as well as, she's dating the white actor dude. She could have
the Lawrence brother, Matthew Lawrence. I think it's Matthew.
Maybe. Chilli could have done one of two things in regards to this controversy. She could have A, said, hey, look, I used to be MAGA. I'm not anymore. Keep it moving. There we go.
No.
One that owns up to the fact that we have receipts and we see what you did. It would explain the past behavior, and you just cut it off and you say, look, you could even dress it up however you want. You could say, I've since come to a realization that that's not for me. I've seen the things that have been going on with this presidential, the treatment that this president has been rolling out. It has opened my eyes, and I've now reconsidered my views. Blah, blah, blah. Dress it up if you want. Get your PR person involved.
Or
the second option you could have done, Chilli, is just double down. Hey, I'm MAGA. Go the Nicki Minaj route. Just, hey, this is what it is. Yes, it's me. It explains the donations from the past. It explains everything that happened with the caramel comment and the Michelle Obama tweet. And honestly, if she would have done either of those two things, maybe I would look at her a little bit differently. Instead, not accountable, placing blame elsewhere. I am not good when it comes to fucking technology. I'm not even on social media, but I guarantee you, I have not reposted some shit that I did not agree with and put it on my timeline. I've never oh, yes, I'll give you this. I have accidentally liked something I did not intend to like, and then I unliked it, and then that was it. Yes, I'm sure there was a notification sent to that account that said, Mo Kid Licorish like this tweet, or Mo Kid Licorish like this Instagram post. But I guarantee you that once they looked into it, they would see I was gone. Out in a flash. Boom! Gone like a fucking ghost. Because it's not that hard. At the end of the day, it's really not that hard. This wishy-washy bullshit that Chilli did with saying that I blame technology and I'm not conservative. Like, just own up to it. Or say you made a mistake. Or say you made a mistake. Take some ownership of your fucking action and call it a day and keep it moving. But instead, she's doing this backpedaling nonsense, almost as if there's a fucking tour that is hanging in the balance, and she needs to make good, because otherwise, the black people who came to see Salt and Pepper and, TC will not be paying to go see her, and all that goodwill will have gone out the water. So all I'm saying is, Chilli, if you are, that's your stance. If you're not any longer, cool. But don't give us this nonsense of technology and, I'm not, when we have the receipts. We have the fucking receipts.
The internet is forever. And I will say this to Chilli, okay? Because I know as you get older, your career starts waning. You want to sometimes venture into new and exciting spaces that you think will keep you going, keep the money coming in. And I think it's best to take this advice. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to.
Now, here's the thing about that, though, because, I know that you're going to have it one way or nothing at all.
But she was just moving too fast.
I think she was moving too fast, yeah.
And that's where she got into this kerfuffle.
I do think that that's where that came from. I also would just point out the obvious that, you know, TLC, quite frankly, it's a early 2000s act that
they
honestly
don't have the L anymore.
That quite frankly never recovered after the L from TLC passed away. R.I.P. And honestly, when it comes to Chilli specifically, hasn't really been all that relevant as far as cultural zeitgeist since Usher and his confessions, and even then that was his story. I'm just saying, missed opportunity. Why don't you just open up a line of Chilli?
Just being chilly.
Yeah, Chilli's Chilli. That's all it could be.
Well, what is the name of, what is that, Great Wolf Chili? Is that the name of it? What is that chili called?
Great Wolf.
Is that what it's called?
I think it's, isn't it Wolf Brand Chili?
Wolf Brand Chili. Get yourself your own version of chili, and then you can be the conservative chili monger.
Chilli's Chilli. Chilli's, where is she from? Because I was about to say
Detroit?
Chilli's Southern Chili.
She might be from Detroit.
Chilli's Chilli. The chili that makes you go chasing waterfalls.
She's from Georgia.
Chili Southern Chili. The chili for creeps. Just keep it on the down low. Nobody's supposed to know. There you go.
That'll be your tagline.
Yeah.
And I think if you take that, please send us some royalties.
Yeah, send us some. Obviously, you cut us, let's say, between 10 to 7 to 25%.
I want 25.
Obviously, I want 25 as well.
You said a whole bunch of numbers. I said I want 25.
I mean, if we're being honest, like I'm the one who actually came up with the idea. You can have 7. You can have 7. You can have a 7% split of my 20%, 25%.
I guess I could take it.
You'd have no choice. It's what I would give you.
Well, Chilli is not the only one who has also gotten in some hot water this weekend.
Sure.
Or this week. Her former paramour, Usher, has also gotten the internet a bit riled up over his latest comments about P. Diddy. It wasn't just him. Both he and J. Cole had some things to say, which people were like giving a side eye. First, Usher was in an interview, and he was just talking about like his experience with P. Diddy and how like he cannot comment on any of these other allegations, any of the things that happened, because that was not his personal experience. So he was not going to he wasn't going to bypass all the ways that Diddy taught him how to be like a musician, an entrepreneur, and a black man in this business, which many folks have been giving the side eye. J. Cole was being interviewed by Cameron for his podcast.
Sure.
Cameron brought up the infamous fight that he had with Diddy some years ago.
Very infamous.
And basically J. Cole was like, yes, it happened. I'm not going to speak on it. And he didn't want to, even though he had like recorded a whole podcast around it, he didn't want to put it out because he felt like it was kicking a man while he was down. So these two comments that have come out the same week have had people a little up in arms. Their asses are itching a little bit. And I was curious what you thought about it.
So I'm of two minds when it comes to these particular comments. And I guess it's kind of split of subcategories. I'll start with Usher. I can understand why Usher may be hesitant to speak ill of P. Diddy. Obviously, Usher has a close relationship with Diddy. I think at one point in Usher's, big burgeoning career in the very beginning, Diddy was a mentor figure, took the young man under his wings. What he did with him, or what situations he put Usher in at that young age, who's to know? Who's to say? It's clear in that interview that Usher has mixed feelings and a lot of high respect for the accomplishments that P. Diddy had in the industry. And of that mindset, I completely understand when somebody that you personally know, who is your mentor, who is let's say a great individual in your life, and maybe even a iconic individual in the industry that you're in, I completely understand not wanting to jump out on a ledge and maybe say or criticize any of the things that they have done because of what they have done overall for you or for whatever business you're in. I do understand that. Having said that, though, I watched a video where he kicked Cassie and beat the crap out of her. So at that point, once it's out there, once I've seen it, that is full range for me to comment on that one thing that I saw. I'm not, even if I never comment on the baby oil debacle or any of the numerous alleged crimes that he's done, I can at the very least comment on the video that I saw where he, a grown man, beat a younger woman who was supposed to be his romantic lover, person of interest. I saw that, and I can comment on that. And I comment on that he is a bad dude for doing that thing. He put his hands on a woman. He is a fuck guy. He's a fuck dude. He's a fuck N-word. I wanted to say the actual N-word in that moment, but I thought you might have laughed if I did that, and that might have undercut the thing that I'm saying, so I didn't want to go down that route. Fuck P. Diddy. Fuck that guy. If for nothing else, if for none of the alleged things that he's done, then for the actual thing that is on camera that I've witnessed him do. Fuck him, and he can eat a dick. As far as J. Cole's comment, when it comes to not wanting to kick a guy when he's down, you know who kicked somebody when they were down? Diddy did. Did he? Did he? Diddy did. Did he do that? Did Diddy kick Cassie when she was down? He did, because I saw the video. Fuck Diddy. And I have no problem with saying that. That was wrong. It was fucked up. Don't even give a fuck what the context does. I saw that dude use fists and his feet to kick a woman, and I can easily say that. Hell, I could put out a podcast and say that for a whole 2-hour podcast of just fuck Diddy. I'd put some beats on it. If anything, I'd put some drops on it. As far as Diddy's concerned, he's the living embodiment of this drop right here.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Because he does. Diddy stinks. And this idea of Usher and J. Cole both doing this avoidance when it comes to addressing, it's upsetting to me, and I won't do the drop for that, but it is upsetting because it sort of perpetuates this notion of, guys, J. Cole, Usher, Diddy is in jail right now, okay? He can't hurt you. He can't find you. He can't get to you. Y'all are millionaires. Y'all are very wealthy, you know? It's okay to point out the bad thing that a dude in your industry did. It's okay to comment on the bad thing that the dude in the industry did. Yes, was he powerful? Yeah. Does he have that power now? No. Will he have that power when he comes out? Who's to say? There's a good chance he won't. There's a good chance he won't. There's a decent chance that he might. But he doesn't have it now. So you don't have to feel powerless. You can speak your mind. You can speak freely. You don't have to do this tap dancing, walking around the subject. In J. Cole specifically, it's not kicking a man when he's down. Because that man kicked a woman when she was down. So if there's any person on this earth that you should kick when they are down, it's the dude who kicked a woman when she was down. It's okay to do that. That might be it's a short list. There's a few people on that list that you can kick when they're down, and he's on there. And those type of people are on there. So, just disappointing behavior from the two of them.
No, I agree with everything you said. And it really kind of just makes me think about how I get very disappointed with black men and men in general, because a lot of times, you know, it doesn't matter how much women and girls talk about the way that they are harassed, abused, assaulted, etc. by men. There will always be some man who says, oh, well, he's really nice. He's really kind. Like, my friend could never do that, right? And so when you have women who are vehemently, like, pushing for men to be held accountable for their actions, it's always undercut by these other men who are like, well, he never acted like that with me. Okay, and... like, Usher, honestly, I don't believe that Diddy never did anything to harm him, personally. Usher has mentioned in interviews throughout his career various times when he was underage and Diddy had him in situations he should not have been in. He has openly said that he would never allow any of his children to be put in the situations that Diddy had him in, or being with Diddy in those ways, right? So I think it's like, yes, it can be difficult to know that someone you love and cherish and held like a high place in your life and in your career, that they may have done something, but I think that, like you said, you may not be able to talk about what other people experience that they're alleging that they experienced that you didn't see. But we do know one thing that we did see. One thing that has gone viral that people around the world have seen. And that is him attacking Cassie, kicking her, punching her, and dragging her back into that room. And I think that that's the part where it's like you could no longer say, well, I can't comment on that, because you can comment on the very thing that we all saw, because you know that you saw it, I saw it, we saw it. It's not hiding from you. And I think this is the part where men do not get held accountable, because it's only the people who are at the brunt of their abuse who are trying to hold them accountable. And I don't know what else can be said or done to persuade other men to just stand up and say that's some bullshit, right? Because it's like when you think about Trey Songz, R. Kelly, Woody Allen, Roman Polanski, all these different men who have done bullshit. The people, yes, there may be women who are there, like, saying, like, I'm still listening, or I'm still watching, or whatever. But it's the men who have the power in these situations, because men do not listen to women, they listen to other men. The amount of times where I'm out and a man tries to talk to me, and the only way that I could get him to leave me alone is saying, I have a boyfriend. They don't care about anything else. They don't care if I said I'm a lesbian. They don't care if I say I'm not interested. They don't care about any of that. But then me saying, oh, I have a boyfriend, that's the only thing that's like, oh, okay, there's a man involved, so now let me be on my P's and Q's, right? And I think that if for men who say that they want this world to be kinder, and they want women to feel safe and children to feel safe, and also other men to feel safe, because men are not just abusing women, they're also abusing other men and boys, etc. You have to stand up and do things that are uncomfortable. You have to call out the men who are doing the fuck shit in your life.
And honestly, not that big of a lift. It's really not that big of a lift. Hey, it's as easy as saying, you can, honestly, I'll give you an example, Usher. I'm going to speak specifically to Usher because he's the one who specifically said that Diddy was like a mentor to him. Mm-hmm. I can phrase it in a way that, while still probably in line with what you believe, would be way more good in the means of advancing the notion of, you know, I don't agree with this behavior, by saying something like this. Hello, this is my Usher voice. Look, Diddy was a mentor to me. Diddy was a man who did a number of things to advance hip hop and black people in the music space. Unfortunately, what he did to Cassie, I do not agree with. And unfortunately, that is a part of his story. And that makes me see him in a completely different light. It honestly, it makes all of the achievements that he made, quite frankly, it calls all of that into question on some level, because the kind of control and ambition that he had for the industry, who's to say that that same kind of underlying behavior wasn't present in the video that I saw? I absolutely abhor and do not like what P. Diddy did in that video, and I do not condone what he did to Cassie. I do recognize the achievements that he made in music, while also recognizing the man for who he is in totality, everything that encompasses it, the good and the bad, period, end quote. That's all you have to do. That would be so much more in the way of, like, and you get to have your cake and eat it too, quite frankly. You get to point out the achievement while also highlighting the very real flaws. It's almost as if you're saying, hey, he is a human being, and I do accept while I also condone the person that I personally know. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You can do both. They're not mutually exclusive. You don't have to get rid of or play down the bad side while highlighting the good side. Both can exist at the same time. And honestly, both exist within P. Diddy. He is a man who pushed the needle when it came to hip hop and R&B in music. He is also a man who beat the shit out of Cassie. That is two things that one man did.
And we all have duality, right? When you talk about someone, whether they're good or evil, nobody is one. Like, there are plenty of people. Mother Teresa. Did Mother Teresa do a lot of great things? Yes. Gandhi. Did Gandhi do a lot of great things? Yes. But
Cesar Chavez recently.
Cesar Chavez. Lots of great things.
Important to the labor union. Also raped that woman.
But do we also have now accounts of terrible things that they did? Yes. And I don't think that could take... Does that mean that all of the good things that the person did are null and void? Not exactly. But it does mean we have to look at them in a different light. We have to... I think that also that would help people just in general. Because I think a lot of times people think, like, if you're someone who's doing good, you could never make any mistake. You could never stumble. When in reality, a lot of people who are doing a lot of great things, they might still stumble. It may not be into the lengths of like abuse or bigotry or anything like that, but you still might do things that aren't that great, and it's about whether or not you're able to be accountable to those things, whether you're able to learn and grow from those things, not that nothing ever happens.
I think that we in the Black community need to move away from this notion of perfection within the Black community.
The Black excellence.
Black excellence. The only way that, the only way that we can put these individuals up on a pedestal is if they have absolute perfection, because in weird ways, the Black community will do one of two things. We will put somebody up on a pedestal and either they are 100% perfect and we ignore even the most minute flaws, or they were like excellent in their field and they did an abhorrent thing and we talk down that abhorrent thing. We try to dismiss or ignore that abhorrent thing. And like, we can't do that. We have to take everybody in their totality. Honestly, and I've been wanting to say this for a really long time when it came to people who have a hard time in music, removing the art from the artist. Honestly, if you like R. Kelly and you like listening to his music, listen to his music, but also admit to what he did. And I don't mean dismiss what he did. I don't mean downplay what he did. I mean admit that you like listening to a man who made music, and while simultaneously making that music throughout his career was also abusing underage women. If you like Bill Cosby and you love The Cosby Show for what it did, more power to you. You also have to admit that while he was building his career and making The Cosby Show, you also have to admit and acknowledge that he was drugging and assaulting women, and included an episode of The Cosby Show where he drugged his family with the barbecue sauce. Just admit that. Don't downplay, don't ignore, don't dismiss. Embrace and acknowledge. I'm not sitting up here being like, you have to say, yeah, I love that R. Kelly did that stuff to them women. No, that is a whole nother type of person that I honestly wouldn't want anywhere near me. I would not want them anywhere near me. But just acknowledge that I like this artist. I like this person's body of work. I also acknowledge that they are not a good person, morally speaking.
And I think
it makes life so much easier when you accept everything.
But I think that the reason why, and I can't talk about any other community because I'm not a part of it, but I think that's part of the reason why in the Black community, we have so many instances of fathers, cousins, brothers, pastors, teachers, coaches, etc., abusing people, whether they are underage children, whether they are people in their household, in their community, that never gets brought to the forefront, because when you bring it up, it's like, oh, we can't mention that because everything this person worked for is going to be gone, or everything that the person does, we need them, and we need them even with their abusive tendencies, but the good that they're doing is outweighing the abuse. And I think that's the part where we are constantly butting heads, because you can not allow people in your community to continuously harm other members of your community and for your community to thrive.
I think that when you do that, like, you end up doing more harm than good.
Yeah.
Remember that YouTube video that we watched where that principal beat the crap out of that kid with a printer cord?
Yeah.
And the police were informing the teachers at the school, which was also a religious school of some kind or what have you, that he had a past history when it came to abuse against kids, and the teacher was like, oh yeah, we already know, but he's so good with the kids. He's so good with the kids. I'm not even necessarily doing the voice, but I wanted to do the voice because that's the voice that I hear when we dismiss behavior. You know what I mean? Because when you dismiss behavior, it can come out in similar or worse ways. And it just happened. It just continues to happen. You just got to nip that shit in the bud. You can acknowledge the great things that somebody did while also acknowledging the shit things that they did. And honestly, we as all human, to err is to human. That's a very specific and also appropriate quote. No one is perfect. No one is perfect. We are all flawed people. Some people are more flawed than others. Some people are more perfect than others. I mean, not perfect than others. Some people are more like better than others when it comes to balancing the good and the bad internally within us. But nobody's perfect. And I think we just need to keep that in mind when it comes to these people.
Yeah.
Just accept the good. You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and then you have the facts of life.
Yes, the facts of life.
I don't remember the rest of the song.
Me neither. But that does make a good segue into the next thing I wanted to talk about.
All right. What's next?
Well, in talking about people who can do great things and also some fucked up shit, I wanted to talk about the new Harry Potter trailer that just released this week.
For the listeners, if you don't already know, Odie is the resident Harry Potter fandom fan.
Yes.
She has read all the books. She's read the appendices. She's read the additional content. She's seen the Broadway play or off-Broadway play. I don't know which one it is. She has tattoos of Harry Potter on her ass.
I do not have it on my ass.
I'm led to believe that she has it on her ass.
You would know, but I don't.
Anyhow, so obviously when it comes to all things Harry Potter, she is the resident expert.
Yes. And what was it? A year or two ago, they announced there was going to be a Harry Potter TV show.
Yes.
Now, for me, this was very much very bittersweet because I think like I've probably spoken on this podcast before. When the movies were first announced, I remember being very kind of disappointed there was going to be a movie because I felt like it needed to be a TV series to be able to encapsulate all of the content, because knowing that when there's an adaptation, they miss a lot of things. And they did miss a lot of things, as we recently watched, when was that? I think that was during winter break, during Christmas break. We watched all the Harry Potter movies, and a lot of things were missed.
There was a lot of cut material from the Harry Potter movies. Apparently, there's a whole elves union.
The house elves, yes.
There's a union with the house elves.
The enslaved house elves.
With those slaves, yes.
There's a lot of things that were missed. And so when they announced that there was going to be a TV show, as much as I was like, oh, wow, this is a perfect medium for the book adaptations, it also was pretty bittersweet because J.K. Rowling has come out to be transphobic. She's also saying things that are racist, just very bigot-filled behaviors, which is very stressful and frustrating as someone who loves the work that she created, because the books, all of them were very social justice based, right? Like, even though we would say, like, things would come out where you're like, well, that you named the Asian girl Cho Chang. You changed Lavender Brown to a white girl when she got to the movies and had like speaking parts.
And who's to say that that was not necessarily J.K. Rowling's fault?
Yeah,
as far as like the movies are concerned,
it could have been, a variety of things, right? But we know with her in recent years what she has come out to be, right? And so now with the new show, they announced one of the first things was there was going to be a Black Snape. There was
Black Snape moaned. Black Snape moaned.
Black Snape.
More like Black Snape groan.
We also have Hermione is, I want to say, is she Indian and Venezuelan? But she's not white, right? But then also they announced that they cast, I think, Pavarti Patel as an Italian actress, which is, her name is Pavarti Patel. Why would she be Italian? Unless you're saying she's an Indian Italian, who then, okay, whatever. But at the end of the day, she should have Indian ancestry. She and her twin. That's who we know who she should be. And so when the trailer came out, I was very meh about it. Like, I didn't rush to watch it. But, of course, you couldn't escape it. Anytime you want to watch something on HBO, that's going to be the first thing that comes up. So, eventually, I did see it. And I have thoughts. But I'm curious of what your thoughts are as someone who has watched the movies a few times, but you're not a book reader. So it's a little different, but I'm curious.
The funny thing is, I'm actually more curious about what you think, because you're, like I said at the top of this, you're the resident Harry Potter expert. Mm-hmm. You're the one who loves this fandom. Mm-hmm. And I have made mention in the past on this podcast that, like, I've been a fan of Star Wars, and I have been a fan of Marvel, and I have been a fan of DC, and I have seen what these corporations do when they take beloved properties and they adapt them to a larger audience for profit. I've seen what they have done, and I have and will continue to speak about how I feel about them. I'm more interested in how you feel watching this trailer, seeing the casting notice. I'm sure you've been online and seen the comments when it comes to how the fandom is feeling. With all of this considered, I want to know how you're feeling about this, I will say, adaptation of the Harry Potter novels. And I say all this because I think that Harry Potter is both the last standing Western fandom that's left.
Okay, yeah.
And it might also be like a litmus test for how adaptations of large fandom properties will be developed moving forward. And I can explain all that when I get to my part, but I do genuinely want to hear what you think.
So, I mean, I feel, like I said, it's bittersweet. Watching the trailer, I think that for the most part, like, all the characters seem to be casted well. I would say, for the exception of Petunia, because I didn't really feel like she had that like prickly, waspy personality that Petunia, the original
Petunia the teacher?
That's the aunt.
Oh, the aunt. Oh, Harry Potter's aunt. Okay. Yeah.
Draco Malfoy, he looked too modern, like a modern white boy.
He did seem to have like more like modern day TikTok hair, I guess.
Yeah, he just looks too like, I'm trying to be cool, but for now, versus I'm trying to be cool in like the 80s, which would have been,
or the 90s,
the 90s, which would have been a different look. And then Snape, because I think Snape being a black man is the worst thing that could possibly happen. And I'm like, are you trolling us on this? Right? Like, those things all matter because the casting matters because the type of casting you do can change the story. Even if you never change anything that happens, it changes how people interact and reflect and feel about the story, right? So the main cast, it's like whatever. I didn't find it. They look sweet and cute and adorable as these 11-year-olds who are going into this new magical world. But I find that it's hard for me to watch the trailer and be excited about it. Number one, because of everything that J.K. Rowling has done. I saw someone online had said, like, if she was dead, it would be easier to interact with the projects because, she's not getting anything out of it. But knowing that she's, like, I think she's listed as an executive producer on the show. And that just, like, adds to the fact that, like, I don't want to give her any more money. Like, I don't want her to have anything else extra because it has not...
Like it or not, J.K. like, it's a $1 billion...
It's a $1 billion
franchise that she created.
She has the movies that they're not going anywhere. She has the theme park. She has the Broadway play, and now the series.
Yeah, she is an executive producer of the Harry Potter television show.
So it just feels very, like, gross to interact with it. And it's kind of like one of those things where I would want to watch it, but I want to, like, what is the word? When you take the content, bootleg it. I want to bootleg it. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to get first streams.
You want to torrent it?
I want to torrent it. Okay. I wish Mega Video was still a thing, so that I could watch it from there, just to see, like, what they do with it.
You torrent.
But I think one of my main concerns is honestly with the Black Snape, and it's not that you cannot have race-bent characters in the Broadway play. Hermione was played by a Black actress. She did a great job. It did not change the story. It was still really great. And I think about, like, of all the characters, why would you choose Snape, who is, as much as he is beloved, he's also very much hated because of his treatment of Harry and the trio and all that. But it's also his backstory. Snape is poor. He is bullied. He's ostracized by the wizarding community while he's a student and afterwards. Everything about him gives just like, it's just like negative, right? So why are we choosing a black man to play him? And I think that then colors all of the things that happen to Snape in the book. We know that his father is like a drunk or something, or like beats him. That's why he and Lily became friends, because he would always be in the park and see her, and they grew close due to her being so sweet and kind to him and him never experiencing that type of friendship. They have a deep friendship until their late teens, when he starts running with the Death Eaters, and she becomes friends with James Potter, but more so like is still defending Snape, because James and Sirius are always bullying him. At one point, they prank him and he's like playing at a tree, or he's over by a tree studying or whatever. They take their wands, they lift him up, causing his robes to fall down, exposing him. So all of these things are happening. Then he joins the Death Eaters, knows Lily and James are going to be murdered, tries to strike a bargain with Voldemort, does not happen, and then she's killed. Fast forward, he is teaching her son, and even though he loved her, he hated James Potter. So then bullies Harry and his friends for the duration until he dies.
Which, by the way, warning for anybody who hasn't read the books or
if you have
seen
not
the movies.
Read the books or seen the movies in the past 30-something years, Sorry for the spoilers. But I think that all of those things color his experience. I think everybody else, if they had made them black, it would not have changed how the viewer is seeing that story. But I think now everything that happens to Snape is not just going to be like the classism that he experienced, but also it's now going to feel like racist. And like, is that going to make everything he did feel more excusable? Is that the point? Like, and it's not like it's not like throughout the cast they have sprinkled in various black people. You know, like Professor Sprout's not black, or Professor Flitwick, or Dumbledore, or McGonagall, or whatever. So you just have this one lone black man in the movie, from what we're seeing. One lone black man in this TV show. And he is going through all these trials, all these tribulations. And I just feel like that sucks. And not only in the TV show, but there have been a lot of accounts of the actor. I think his name is
Papa Essiedu.
Papa Essiedu. He's been receiving death threats. Also, Arabella Stanton, like we said, she is not white. She's been receiving death threats. And it's just like, what are we doing to ensure that the stars in this show are not going to be mistreated based on things that they cannot control? Because you're not talking about, oh, their acting isn't good, or you don't like them as a person. You're talking about something that they cannot change, which is their race and or ethnicity. And it's like, why are we adding fuel to this negative fire that is already going to be placed around this series? Because J.K. Rowling is enough. Like, do we not have enough to deal with? Do we not have enough things to be, like, frustrated about and having to constantly excuse or whatever? And, you know, just like you said when we were talking about Usher and J. Cole, if you are a Harry Potter watcher, reader, or whatever, you have to say to yourself, J.K. Rowling is terrible because she's a TERF, and she has been saying racist things that push people's lives back, and she has been funding things that have been causing harm to people in various communities. And if I'm watching what she's doing, if I'm watching something that she is connected to, I am okay with that, right? Now, you have to now add an extra layer to that, where the fandom in itself is creating more racist, sexist, whatever tropes that you could add on to the people who are joining the show. And it's like, you could say these people joined, they knew who she was. I know John Lithgow and Papa Essiedu and a few of the other cast members have been open, or when asked, have said like they do not align with anything she thinks or feels, etc. But it's just, we're adding more fuel to the fire. And some parts of me are like, I wonder how many people who've become Harry Potter fans in recent years, is it because they agree with her negative beliefs and not having anything to do with the crux of what Harry Potter was to those of us who loved the story, which was social justice, fighting for what's right, helping others, and not standing idly by while anybody is being mistreated. Because that was, when I reading the books, watching the movies, like, that is what I got from it. And now that legacy of fighting against the negativity, fighting against those in power who want to harm, is really, you know, it's been shitted on.
Well, as far as that is concerned, okay. Again, I've never read the books, but I did watch the movies. So I can only go off of what I've gleaned here and there, research that I've done online, and the movies that I've watched. Mm-hmm. To my knowledge, J.K. Rowling is different from R. Kelly, which is a strange sentence that I never thought I'd say.
Sentences were saying
I did not wake up this morning.
Said before.
When I woke up this morning, I did not think that I was going to say the sentence that J.K. Rowling is different from R. Kelly in this way. But they are different in that J.K. Rowling's work does not necessarily reflect her personal views that she has come to be known for.
Yeah.
You know how like a lot of artists will put themselves and their thoughts and their feelings about certain topics in their work. Quite frankly, unless I am completely off base, I don't think there's any transphobia or transphobia allegories within the works of Harry Potter from what I've seen.
Not in the works of Harry Potter, but in her Robert Galbraith series, which is a series that I also really liked. The Cormoran Strike series. Robert Galbraith is her pen name. That one is non-magical. It's like a mystery series. And in the most recent book that came out, because it's like in each of the books, someone like is murdered or dies or whatever, and Cormoran Strike is trying to figure out who did it. And in like one of the more recent series, it was a trans person was in it. So like Harry Potter, no. In other works, yes.
Okay.
But not Harry Potter.
Well, I will just say her most famous work that she's known for, not this Cormac McQuack fucking nonsense that apparently you're still a fan of. Now, and you literally just said that. Your words, you just said that I am a fan of.
Well, I did. I was a fan of them. I read them. The majority of them came out before she started saying all this bullshit. But then when you go looking back, you're like, oh, wait, she did make the villain they were either cross-dresser or they were trans, and it was like a whole thing. But those are things that are, again, you're finding out afterwards. But yes.
In her most popular work, there isn't a lick of transphobia within Harry Potter.
No, I would say as someone who has read that series more than a dozen times, I do not see or notice anything transphobic in this.
So with that in regard, I think I could see both aspects. I can see how someone who is not transphobic enjoying the Harry Potter series. I could also see how someone who is transphobic enjoying the Harry Potter series, mainly because the themes that are found within the Harry Potter series are like universal. I think that they speak to a more human element and speak to more wider and broader themes of like acceptance and found family and, growth and sacrifice and, good versus evil and all of these universal storytelling things that have been found in the long history of storytelling. I could see how anybody from any walk of life can enjoy the Harry Potter series. That's why I say that Harry Potter is the last Western fandom that exists, because it's basically, there has been very few fandoms that have been left standing, that have not been touched, adapted, corrupted, or anything like that. Right. I hope I didn't cut you off. Did you?
No, continue.
Okay. So when it comes to Harry Potter, and again, this is coming from somebody who's not that big of a Harry Potter fan, but I am a fan of fandoms. I appreciate someone like Odie who is a fan of something, because I think fandoms speak to a large and larger like social experience, like people from all walks of life gravitate towards these stories that are being told, and they gravitate towards these characters, and they see themselves in these characters, and they appreciate the stories that are being told, the morality tales, the good versus evil, the sacrifices, the growth, but the betrayals, the complexity of it all, the hero's journey. we gravitate towards this. And through this shared experience, people from all walks of life, like who honestly you may have never connected with, can share in this appreciation for something that you love.
Yeah.
And my personal issue with the Harry Potter TV show, and the thing that I've been saying and that I brought up in past podcasts, and I keep saying that's the last Western fandom, is because, quite frankly, Hollywood and the entertainment business has completely and utterly ruined all the other fandoms. Everything else has been fucking appropriated, has been bastardized, has been like, you know, wrung dry financially of like basically anything and everything that used to be a fandom. Star Trek, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Marvel, DC, like any Transformers, anything that used to be like the biggest fandom that brought people together through its like originality and the stories that they told has been co-opted by corporations, has been adapted. And by adapted, I mean, like, they said, oh, yeah, they looked at a budget sheet. They looked at a budget sheet and said, oh, let's try to get some money out of that. And they adapted it.
They just basically put the characters' names.
Put the characters' names on there.
That was it.
Told whatever fucking story they wanted to tell. Put whatever characters they wanted to put in there. And then said, please give me your money.
And then bleed it dry. Over, I mean, most of them have had generations, decades of being bled, and then it's ramped up, and I would say the last 2 decades.
But I see a level of insidiousness with Harry Potter. Because if you notice, if you go back to when the Harry Potter television show was announced, they specifically said that this would be a faithful adaptation. That's what they like to say.
Yeah.
They like to say that this is a faithful adaptation. When they say faithful adaptation, they're essentially saying they're not saying what you think they are saying. And I'll show you how by what they do later on. But essentially, when a corporation like HBO says that they're going to do a faithful adaptation of the story that you love, what they're saying is, hey, we're going to put a lot of effort into bringing this thing that you love to life. Please give us your money without questioning anything, without even thinking too hard or looking too far into it. Please, we're going to do a really good job. That's essentially what they're saying when they say they're going to do a faithful adaptation. And then they do things like, you know, release images that show where they're shooting, and they show Nick Frost as a giant, and you know, like they do little things. Half giant. I'm sorry, my bad. Half giant. They do little things to show that they're putting a lot of effort and energy into the production.
Yeah.
Now with this Black Snape Groan, with the casting of Black Snape, I want to address one thing. There's a lot of people who saying that Papa Siedu should not have accepted the role of Snape. You know, if he was such a fan of Harry Potter, he shouldn't have accepted the role. I don't see a problem with him accepting the role, because truth be told, if he didn't accept the role, chances are they would have looked for and sought another black actor to play this role.
And it's not like black actors, especially in the UK, have any place to go. So
that's the problem. The problem isn't with the actor who took the role, which is why I do not agree with him receiving death threats. The problem is the casting chose to hire him.
Yeah.
And as you pointed out, it recontextualizes the story. And in doing so, makes it so that it is not a faithful adaptation.
Yes.
And then what happens and what has happened, as they have said, we're going to keep to the spirit of Harry Potter. And that's the trick that they pull. The pull isn't that they're doing, when they say they're going to do a faithful adaptation, what they mean is we're going to put a bunch of effort, give us your money, we're still going to do whatever we want. And that includes changing the characters, which will fundamentally change the story. And I guarantee you what's going to end up happening is one of two things. They're either going to do nothing with the story, and if they do nothing with the story itself, then yeah, that means that James Potter is a racist. That means that anytime Harry Potter says, I think Snape is up to something, he's a little bit racist. That means that when the boggart comes out the closet and the little boy is afraid of Snape, it means that he's afraid of a closeted black man. Like that... That means that they're going to leave all of this shit untouched, and it changes the context of everything. Or what I suspect they will do is probably sprinkle in some minorities in the Marauders. They might do that. They might do that.
Maybe will do
so that at the very least, like it's not exactly weird and racist, but it again completely changes it and makes it so that it is not a faithful adaptation of the story that you said would be a faithful adaptation.
And I think that it pisses me off taking J.K. Rowling out of it. You cannot tell me, if you're the writer, producer, showrunner, director, whatever, I'm assuming that you've either read the source material, you've read the books, you've watched the movies. And you're telling me that the only character, the only lead character in this series that you could have picked to be a black person is Snape. I just feel like there was such little thought going into it that it was just like, we're going to like put some pictures up of the characters and we're going to shoot a dart. Whatever we land on, that person's going to be Snape.
Funny enough, I think
or that person's going to be black.
I think you're half true. I do think that little thought went into it, but I also think it was a calculated decision because we're talking about it. I think they changed.
Yeah.
I think they went in saying, we're going to do something to make this our own.
Yeah.
And they said, we're going to change a character and... Okay, we landed on Snape.
But it's like, what? I feel like you're adding work onto yourself, because if you picked someone like Hermione, Hagrid, McGonagall, Dumbledore,
Ron.
Maybe, yeah.
I can literally see. You're telling me that
there's plenty of black redheads, and there are.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But there are black redheads. I went to school with one. That to me is less surprising to have even if he was
Ice Spice.
Even if he was like he may not have been he might have been biracial and black, but even then I still would have been fine with that. I mean, then it would have been I guess that you have the poor family is the black family. So then it would be another level because they're also really bullied. But I'm like, if you had made Dumbledore black and having like all the things, it would have not changed his story. He is the most trusted wizard. He's super powerful. Everyone loves him. He's also gay. He's had an interesting backstory. Like all those things where you're talking about finding a character that has a lot of layers to them.
Imagine Keith David as Dumbledore.
I mean, come on.
That shit would have been fire. Keith David for Dumbledore when John Lithgow eventually passes away because I'm not saying I want this to happen. What I'm saying is older. It's a 10 years he's locked into a 10-year contract. The series is going to be biannual, which means that they're going to be putting out seasons every 2 years. which means that by the time they get to fucking the last movie,
Deathly Hallows.
The Deathly Hallows.
Deathly Hallows. He's
80 years old right now.
He's 80 years old. So in 10 years, when he's 90, or maybe, so let's say it'll be 15 years or so before they finish. He'll be 95.
Recast him with Keith David.
But like, okay, I know that I read that Papa Asiedu, he has signed on for the 10 years.
For 10 years. Yeah.
But I also saw that the kids have not signed on.
Yeah, and that,
so then
and
what's
there you
gonna
go.
happen with them?
And there you go.
Changing a Dumbledore is very different than changing one of the three.
And
you can't change the trio.
And therein lies my issue with Harry Potter being adapted like this by HBO, by a company, by Warner Brothers, by all of this. They've done all of this bullshit with all of our fandoms. They did it with Star Trek. They did it with Star Wars. They did it with Lord of the Rings and the Rings of Power. They did it with Transformers. They literally will take the thing that we love and they will twist it for profit. They won't stay true to the source material. Mm-hmm. They won't stay true to the vision. Like, they won't they just won't adapt it in the way that will absolutely satisfy the fandom. What they will do is adapt it in the way that they see fit by whatever metrics they are looking at. If it means that Malfoy has to have Gen Z fucking hair, it means that Black Snape has to have dreadlocks and a tracksuit. Like, it doesn't. I told
y'all he was gonna have locks. I knew it. I knew he was gonna have locks.
If they have to follow trends, they're gonna have trends. And what I mean when I said earlier that this is a test for all other fandoms, if Harry Potter does well, and let's be real, at the very least, the first season of Harry Potter is going to do well.
Oh, for sure. They said that
it's coming out on Christmas. Universally, everybody watches Harry Potter for fucking Christmas. Who's in the Harry Potter fandom? It's going to do well on Christmas. It's going to launch on Christmas. We're already watching Harry Potter for Christmas. It's going to be not well received. It's going to be well watched. Yeah. Viewership is going to be through the roof at the very least for the first season. And with that information and with that metric, what they're going to do is take that information, and Hollywood, I guarantee you, is going to go off and say, well, this is what happens when you reboot a franchise and you don't do anything to enhance the source material, but instead pervert the source material and make the source material your own. And by your own, I mean corporate own. So who's to say that they won't do that for Star Wars? Who's to say they won't do that to reboot the entirety of the Star Trek fan base or franchise? Or they're already doing it with Lord of the Rings. We don't have enough time to get into that. But
just when you're speaking about the amount of people that are going to watch, according to the Hollywood Reporter, when the trailer dropped on March 25th, it got more than 277 million organic views across all platforms in its first 48 hours. So it's the most watched trailer for any show or program on HBO or HBO Max.
And that's why this is the litmus test. Honestly, I really do mean it when I say that Harry Potter is the last Western fandom left standing. They killed Star Trek, they killed Star Wars, they killed Lord of the Rings, they killed Ghostbusters, they fucking killed Transformers. Game of
Thrones didn't even
They killed Game of Thrones, and Game of Thrones is still trying to dig itself out of that bullshit that was the last season and the last season of the second season of the dragon bullshit.
I mean, I will say
they're still digging themselves out.
Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms is good.
That's because it's so different from we we do have the book for the Seven Kingdoms, but this one was so much different than what they've done in the past because, like you said, they're trying to dig themselves out of where the hole that they got themselves in because they were so focused on money that they don't focus on the IP, that things that people actually love. And I think that's what is so frustrating as a viewer, as a lover of books and media, etc., is that you hope that when these big companies and organizations get hold of something that you hold dear, regardless of what the creators have done, you're like, I would love if this could be breathing a new life into it. But then you get it, and it's just like capitalism takes over. It turns into a funnel for you to just create more things for people to buy and for people to consume, but you don't actually have a real and true love for the product, which is why I feel like, the last 2 decades, we have just been in this IP twister where it's just sucking up everything. You're putting in this and spitting shit out, but not actually caring about, is it going to be good? Does it add something to the canon? Does it give something to the fans who have been devoted? Like, I first started reading Harry Potter, I was 11 years old, right? Now, decades later, I can say that I love the books outside of loving or caring about J.K. Rowling. I have no desire to remove my tattoo or take away any of the joy that I got from the series, right? But I have such a problem with these corporations taking things that they know people love and bastardizing them only for gain. It's not like you're even trying to do something fresh or new or interesting, right? Because when you watch the trailer, there are some new things that we're getting. It shows that we're going to get deeper into Harry's life, like we got in the books. But it's really still kind of shot for shot the movies. It's not that different, which I honestly don't even have a problem with it necessarily.
And honestly, like when I looked at the trailer, it had that dark HBO prestige tint to it, which again, here's the thing. If you care about the product and the story, like Harry Potter, the whole idea, and I can understand if maybe the real world was like dark and gray and gloomy prestige, and then you get to this bright world of magic. Wonder. It speaks to the interest in storytelling.
But I think that
it speaks to the interest of the story that you're trying to tell, but it was literally dark, gray, and gloomy throughout.
And that part, I think, speaks to what we have talked about so much about how in media, sound design and like cinematography and lighting are things that like they're not taught anymore. They're not cared. There's no importance put on them anymore. And it just makes everything feel so gloomy and annoying, especially when you're talking about something that's those first 3 books are very light. They're very magical. It's like they're just bringing joy. Until you get into the 4th book, that's when you start getting darker. In the same vein of like when you watch the movies, how each movie gets darker and darker and darker. But to start off with that, by the end of the freaking series, is the TV show going to be pitch black? I don't understand. Like, those are the things that also just show you don't care. You don't actually want anyone who loves and cares about the series to really and truly enjoy it. You might just be going for the kids who are like new to, like these young kids who are like just reading Harry Potter or whatever for the first time. But in general, it fucking sucks. It fucking sucks that in late stage capitalism that we have to make do with bullshit that these corporations come out with and not actually able to enjoy something because it could be great. It's very possible. They could come out and it could be great. but I don't have high hopes.
I also don't have high hopes. I'm gonna watch it.
Are you gonna watch it or you're gonna bootleg it?
I mean, look, honestly, I'm broke, and I'm going to be broke. And unless anything changes in the very near future, I'm going to be broke. So maybe my father will be broadcasting it on his HBO Max, and I'll bootleg that. So, yeah, I guess I'll bootleg it. I'll just bootleg it.
All right.
I'll bootleg it. So, bootleg Harry Potter. Bootleg any of these fandoms. And honestly, if you like the Harry Potter television show when it comes out, more power to you. But honestly, keep an eye out for what they actually do when it comes to an adaptation. And when they say it is what did I say it was?
Faithful adaptation.
When they say it is a faithful adaptation, really pay attention to whether or not it's a faithful adaptation, or if later on they say they are keeping within the spirit of the adaptation. Or pay attention. Just pay attention.
All right. So that's finished. That's all for Pop Topics. Do you want to do a quick what made us mad? I know we're running out of time.
Yeah, so we are running out of time. So let's keep it quick. We'll do a quick what made us mad and a quick what made us happy.
Bring it. What?
What made you mad this week?
Okay. What made me mad this week was I would say just some hypocrisy that I witnessed. It stirred enough in me that I called attention to it, but like I just hate when I have to see hypocrisy play out, because then I have to deal with it. You know what I mean? Like, just if you are what you say you are, then be that. Otherwise, fuck off. What about you?
Oh man. Okay, let me think. Something that made me annoyed this week. I think just general bureaucracy, and I would also say maybe also, in other words, hypocrisy of people saying do what I say and not what I do. That's always frustrating. So yeah, that's about it.
I would say that too. All right, and the thing that made us happy.
I'm the baby merchant. Tots are us. I give you.
We're not doing the whole song. Just know that just a week or two, I'll have your baby for you. Okay? And Will Adams, I hope you are out there watching Cop Rock, because he looked very confused when we were playing the theme song. What's making you happy this week?
So one thing that's making me happy this week is this past week, Ghana proposed resolution at the UN last Wednesday to recognize the transatlantic slave trade as the gravest crime against humanity, and called for reparations, and that resolution has been adopted. And you want to know who the 3 countries were that said no? Can you guess?
That said no?
That said that no, that the resolution shouldn't be adopted?
That shouldn't be adopted?
Yeah.
England is one of them, I guess? I don't know. Just name them.
Israel, the U.S., and Argentina.
Oh, so
yeah, the mega racist triad said that shouldn't be, but you know the resolution was passed, so they're still in talks to see what else will happen. It's not a legal binding resolution, but it does carry political weight in what happens and in the call for reparations. So I think this is a good step forward.
Sure.
What about you?
I believe so. Just my friends reaching out. They are worried about me. Honestly, I hate to say that it feels good to know that people care, but it does feel good that people care, and people know that I'm I could be in a better place. And they're like, oh, well, how are you? And check in with you and that kind of stuff. And it feels good. It feels good to know that there are people who care, who want to know how I'm doing.
Good.
So that's good. Not to say that there aren't people who are currently on the podcast who don't care. Before I get in trouble for that shit. But it feels good when people show that they care.
All right. Well, if that's everything, then that's everything.
If that's everything, then that's everything. Thank you all for listening or watching the podcast. We'll be back next week with more of this. And until then, take it easy, keep it sleazy. Bye!
Thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like to contact the podcast, you can reach us via email at blackandsnerdypodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at Black and Snerdy Podcast, as well as on Twitter at Black and Snerdy. You can find me, Maurice, on all social media under the handle Licorish is Legit. That's LICORISH is legit.
And you can find me on Instagram. It's thatsod, THATSOD.E. And on Twitter, THATSOD_E. And don't forget to like, rate, and subscribe to us. Tune in next time to the Black and Snerdy Podcast, where nerds of a feather flock together.
Remember?
Bye.
Boy.
Not yet.
No, this is keeping it. We're keeping this in. Don't forget to take your meds and your subs and drink water. Bye.
Bye.
I actually want to keep that.